Okay, the time is now 7 o'clock. It's time to call this meeting to order. Let us begin by standing and saying the pledge to the American flag, followed by a moment of silent reflection. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Belleville, will you please call roll?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Conrad Zingmeister.
Here.
Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
Ms. Jones.
Here.
Timmer.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Accounted for. Moving on to minutes, if you all have a chance to review the minutes and you do not have any questions or comments, I need a motion to approve the minutes as attached. Mr. Hoffman makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Smeltzer seconds it. Sorry.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Ms. Conrad Zingmeister.
Yes.
Ms. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
No adjustments at this time.
Great. And moving on to your superintendent's updates, Mr. Howell.
All right, thank you. Appreciate everybody being here this evening. On the agenda, we have a few items with resignations and also some hirings or movements in the district. So when we get to those on the agenda, I'll speak to those a little bit more at that time. Outside of that, just happy that everybody could be here this evening. I know it's a challenging time of year, a lot going on between family get-togethers and business get-togethers and all those type of things, and shopping and trying to prepare for the holidays. So we do appreciate everybody taking the time to be here, and thank my administrators for being here as well. They'll be presenting tonight, so I want to thank you guys in advance. I know that, again, it's a very busy time of year, a lot going on, so appreciate everybody's dedication to being here. Attend the Bremen Village Council meeting a couple weeks ago. Had a great conversation with council members in regards to traffic around Bremen Elementary School during drop-off and pickup. We're going to continue those conversations. I believe Wednesday we're going to get together a subcommittee of the council and discuss things further. I also had the opportunity, spoke with MCS, who is our representative during the master facility planning that we're doing right now. And MCS has worked with a group called Klingers that do surveying, and they surveyed the main campus for us earlier this year, but they also do traffic studies, and they have traffic engineers in their business. So talked to them today. They're working up a quote to come in and do a traffic study at Bremen. We'll see what that quote looks like, see about having them come in. If it is a good process, then we'll probably also have them come in and look at Pleasantville Elementary as well, and then perhaps the main campus after that. So I'll report back to the board as we progress through that and get more information from them on what that might look like. So just wanted to update the board on that. Also wanted to update the board. I sent out an email towards the end of last week. I had a great conversation with Director Dakin of the Department of Education Workforce. I had a couple follow-up emails with him today, shared a couple of other concerns. One being centered around our district leadership team and the work that that group does. That is a team of teachers and administrators that do a process called the One Needs Assessment. It looks at questions around educational processes in our district and how we're going to grow kids and how we're going to continue to improve. Years ago, this was kind of more known as the Continuous Improvement Plan, CIP. It's now known as the One Needs Assessment, and the state gives you a list of questions that are generated based on your test scores and probing for weaknesses in what you do and how you do it. Not just test scores, but also culture and climate of the district, things like PBIS, and just how you're trying to not only help students grow academically, but also socially, emotionally, and all those type of things. Every 3 years, you have to go through the One Needs assessment, and then you create something called a One Plan, One Needs Plan. And in the One Plan is what action steps are you going to take to address the issues that came up during the One Needs assessment. When you look at these questions about your district and how you're educating kids and the processes you go through, then you come up with an action plan of how are we going to improve these things. And it goes on a 3-year cycle, and we're at the end of a 3-year cycle, so we're in the process of creating our new One Plan for the next 3 years. So this is a process that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort and energy are put into it. Edie Schilling kind of spearheads that for our district, and like I said, it's a team of teachers from each building, 3 to 4 teachers from each building, plus an administrator from each building, and then Edie Schilling, our instructional coaches. Joel Denny serves on the DLT as the association president. I'm on there, and then Mr. DeStadio also has a hand in that process. And so we started this work as the school year started, and Edie collected all the information, all the questions that we were going to have to answer, and there were quite a few of them. And at our last DLT meeting, literally the day before our last DLT meeting, which was at the end of October, early November, we received an email from the state that they were going to change the questions. And they weren't going to finalize the list of questions until January. So you have to answer these questions and create a plan, and the deadline for the plan is April. They're not going to change the deadline, but they're completely changing when these questions are going to come out for you to do your assessment. They also changed, historically, off of these questions, you can pick an area that you really want to focus on and have a goal for your district. Under Mr. DeStadio's leadership and the leadership of our principals, we've really focused on PBIS in our district, positive behavior interventions. Across every building, we've really stressed PBIS. Our teachers have done a phenomenal job of recording positive behaviors. We very much likened it to, when kids do something wrong and we submit a behavior referral to the office and that gets handled, well, we created a process for positive behaviors to where positive behaviors were reported to the office and kids received rewards for the positive behaviors. And again, across all 4 buildings, it's been phenomenal to see how this has grown, how teachers have embraced it, how kids have absolutely eaten it up. At every building, they have reward days and very intricate, detailed plans that have celebrated great behavior, and we've seen a drop in discipline referrals, bad discipline, and it's really been a positive thing. So in our next One Plan, we wanted to continue our work on PBIS. We're going through a process now. Mr. DeStadio is working with Muskingum Valley ESC to go through each building, and we're working our way up various tiers of PBIS implementation, and we will ultimately be recognized by the state for the work that we're doing in this area. So that was going to be our goal again. We really wanted to continue to focus on that. In addition to the new questions that we won't know for sure until January, we've also been told that any plans, any One Plan that you submit to the state that does not have a literacy goal is going to be rejected. Now that's not written anywhere, and we haven't been given a formal guidance on that, but we've been told repeatedly by DEW workers who are doing regional meetings that this is a thing. Like, you have to have a literacy goal or they're going to reject your plan. Now, you can have more than one goal if you want, but you have to have a literacy goal. So we're in the process of kind of regrouping as a team. And again, we've already had a couple of DLT meetings this year and started the legwork. So on the heels of my meeting with Director Dakin last week, I shot him another email this morning and said, oh, by the way, We've talked about PD and how much that is eating into classroom instruction time. Here's another thing that is eating into classroom instruction time, and walking through that. And almost immediately, he responded and said he's going to look into it. He wants to get more information, he'll get back to me. So, it's one of those things that I will give credit where credit's due. Director Dakin has been very open and listened to our concerns. And, if nothing happens, I know we've at least been heard, which is a positive step forward. So I am appreciative of him and the work that he's doing to try to address the concerns that we have. So we'll continue to keep the board updated on those processes and those type of things. But so a lot of work behind the scenes going on, that result in the positive report card and the incredible achievements we're seeing across the district. As far as other updates, I don't want to jump into too many things that are building specific because I know the principals will be talking here shortly, so I'll hold off on some of that. In the board agenda packet, I did include a draft calendar for the 2025-2026 school year. A couple of changes on that calendar just for your reference. We have historically started school on a Thursday. We'll go Thursday, Friday. Next year, I'm going to propose that we start students on Friday and use that Thursday as an extra professional development day for teachers. We have had 2 PD days in September the last couple years. I'm going to move one of those to that Thursday, so we'll just have 1 PD day in September. I do know, Director Dakin confirmed that the equivalency of science of reading for math is coming. We don't know when it's coming, but it is going to come. And that will be another professional development situation where I'm sure there'll be new curriculum, there'll be a very much an equivalency of what we had to do for science of reading. So I want to try to be proactive and set us up to have a little bit of extra time before students come, that we can address those things. We don't have to interrupt the school year once we get going. Also, we have really stressed to our teachers, and I think it has paid off just incredibly well, that the first week or so, the first 2 weeks of school, really concentrate on building relationships with your students. We have time to get into assessments and instruction and all those type of things, but we feel like it's critical that our teachers build strong relationships with our kids and get the year off on the right foot, and especially with our younger kids, teaching them how to do school before we actually start school, I think is important. So we did adjust our each grading period. The first grading period would be 49 days, and every other grading period after that would be 42 days. That gives us that little bit of extra time in the first 9 weeks for our teachers to really focus in on building those relationships without sacrificing a lot of instructional time that goes towards grading. So those were some of the major changes. Everything else on the calendar is pretty close to what it was this year. I do want to thank Joel Denny and the team with FUEA. They worked very hard on presenting a couple of options for calendars, and we took one of their recommendations, a couple of tweaks that I just highlighted, and I think it's a good schedule for next year, good calendar. But today will kind of serve as a hearing on that calendar. It's there for everyone to look at. I'll bring the calendar back in January for the board's consideration for a formal vote. So state law does require that we have a hearing, but you can embed that hearing within a board meeting. So that's the purpose of this evening. Also included in the packet a draft of potential Board of Education meeting dates. Just wanted to get that to board members for you to look at our January 6th organizational meeting. The board will obviously set their agenda for the year and set board meeting dates. So if anyone has any thoughts on those dates, please feel free to let me know. That again, that's just a draft schedule. A couple notes, you'll see some small adjustments. We typically have 2 meetings in January and 1 meeting in February. Change that up a little bit next year just because of the way the calendar falls with some of the holidays and where Martin Luther King Day is, and it just kind of got a little jumbled, so we would have a kind of flip-flop, 1 meeting January, 2 meetings in February. Some of that also, we start getting into in February where President's Day is, and we try not to have a board meeting on a day where there's no school. So had to maneuver a couple of dates around there, and tried to avoid different concerts and activities going on in the district. So take a look at those. Again, that is a very, very rough draft. So if there's anything anyone would like to change, please just let me know, and can make some adjustments for the board to consider come January 6th. Any questions on any of those? Last thing I have, I just want to thank Ms. Conrad Zangmeister for your service as board president the past year. Job well done, and the board will obviously consider a new president, vice president at the January 6th meeting. Maybe it's you again. Good luck with that. But historically, the board has always rotated around. So, on behalf of the administrators, Ms. Conrad Zangmeister, just want to say thank you for your leadership over the past year. We appreciate all you've done for us. And that's all I have, unless there are any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Topol. Moving on to recognition of visitors. I don't believe we have any. No. Okay, moving on to reports and presentations. And if starting with the administrator reports, we're going to start off with Mr. Knott.
Yay! All right. Hey, it's December, guys. We're a little busy, but we enjoy it. Of course, first thing I always love to talk about in December, that shopping trip was, of course, where the high school come down and our kids go with them for the day. Always very touching. Mrs. Landis, our teacher, went this year. She had never gone before. And she said that just tugged to my heart all in the right ways all day long. And so I thought that was a perfect way to kind of talk about the touching. She said everyone should experience it. Kids were glowing. I had 2 or 3 families call the next day thanking us. So kudos to everybody, because it takes a team to get that up and running and going. And so it was just a beautiful moment for the school district, I thought. Conferences were very well attended. I was thrilled to see that. We had a lot of families thank us. We offered the babysitting service through the PTO. That was very helpful. And so that's something we will continue to do at Bremen. And so it was good to see that, hey, we thought this might work, let's try it, and it has. And I felt like some of those families that are larger that sometimes will call but won't come in were able to come in because we were able to offer that. So that was good to see. Night at the North Pole was a blast. Now it's early, we don't have numbers and things, but it was very well attended. Little shout out to our Santa who got a little under the weather. Had to exit early, too many cookies perhaps, need to get back to North Pole. Other than that, we're good to go. And of course, the building is very Christmassy at this point. We had the door decorating contest. It's very competitive in this building. It's very fun, spirited as well. You had staff members and kids working on those things for the last several weeks. Staff members coming in before school hours, staying afterwards just to fine tune every little thing that they could possibly do. I would be in trouble if I did not announce who those winners were, especially knowing that Bendy is here. So let me make sure I do that. So there was a tie for first place. So we had North Pole, which was primarily our aides working on. That's up toward the office area and then the hallways there in front. And then we also had what we call Songs of the Season. That's down toward first grade in some of our kindergarten classrooms. They even went so far as to create a QR code, and you could scan it with your phone. You could hear their children sing to you Christmas carols. So yeah, that is how creative and how much we push it. Like I say, it's those weeks where I get out of the way. I say, here's the paper, here's the stuff, and just watch them. And it's fun to see the great creativity and the collaboration that comes out of that, and the kids' input and the kids having a part of that as well. So it's very nice to see. It is Spirit Week. I actually changed out of my jammies tonight for the board meeting because I knew Betty was going to be here and I would not want to talk about her in my jammies. Tomorrow is we'll wear red and white, so we have a different theme each day this week. We have our North Pole shop right on the back of the stage there. Kids are buzzing around buying things. It's kind of fun. Now it's interesting sometimes when you say, no, this is for Grandma. Oh, she would just love that squishy. Are we sure Grandma would love that squishy? Yes, okay, Grandma will love that squishy. We're good with that. So shout out, PTO does a lot of that. Volunteers, Kingdom and staff helping out, supervising and things like that. So shout out to all those people. We certainly appreciate it. On Friday, we will welcome the Assembly Choir down. It's what I call our little family school moment before we release. Everyone comes down here, we sing, we dance, we have a good time, and it really is just us. Families typically, they will come for the party afterwards, but that's just for us to have our little school family moment and enjoy each other, and then we welcome everybody else and we have a good time, and then it's boom, 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 and we're out. But that's always, I like to schedule it right around that time, just to give us one little last moment before we're off on break. Instructionally, both buildings, and some of this has already been done, and looking at results from the fall test scores and looking at just our other data that we have, making tweaks and things, whether that's schedule-based, whether that's group-based, whether that is looking at a different kind of technique or strategy or pulling in additional resources from CKLA or some of the other supplemental resources. Both of our buildings are kind of already honestly up and running and doing most of that, but we'll see most of that kicking into place once we wrap up, after we come back and hit that third 9 weeks, we'll have all that kind of ironed out there. So, any questions for me? All right, thanks guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Cook,
Let's stand over to the side here. And then Elizabeth. All right, well, tonight I would like to share the joy of December at Pleasantville Elementary. So I used an acronym, JOY. So J stands for jam-packed. It has been full of the Christmas spirit. We began with a secret staff spirit week that had the students full of curiosity about their teachers who were dressed up as spies, drinking from anything but a cup, and setting sail on a tropical adventure. It was so fun to watch the kids coming in and seeing the whole staff. Tina, I'm sure, saw my reels posted. They were so fun. So the kids enjoyed that. I had heard from many parents how they enjoyed their kids coming home. Just, why was my teacher, all of the teachers were dressed in black today. So it was fun. This week, the whole school joins in the fun. We have daily themes also at Pleasantville. So like Mr. Knott, I changed out of my outfit from earlier, but we'll be back at it tomorrow. The O in JOY stands for Open Doors. We have welcomed grandparents this month in for our amazing student programs led by Mrs. Burnworth. Mr. Belleville came to our school today and he shared a story with our youngest students. So that was awesome. They enjoyed it. Be looking for a reel. It's coming soon about Mr. Belleville. And we look forward to visits from the high school choir and the boys basketball team who's going to be reading with our students on Wednesday. The Y in JOY stands for youthfulness. As we embrace the energy that this season brings and see Christmas through the eyes of our children, I feel so incredibly blessed to work in such a generous and caring community that pours so much into our students. From the National Honor Society shopping trip, some of our students enjoyed a special outing to ensure that they were provided for this Christmas. To Cisco Kids and to the local churches and the fire department, the spirit of giving is alive and well. Thanks to the generosity of our PTO, Santa will be bringing each of our students a brand new toboggan on Friday. It's going to be a magical day, and we all eagerly anticipate the joy-filled experience as we head into break. Joy. Lastly, I would like to give a joy-filled, heartfelt shout out to Mary Peters. Mary has been a cornerstone of Pleasantville for many years, building connections with grandparents and parents and children. She knows their stories, she loves them, she protects them, she understands exactly what every family needs. This December, Mary has gone above and beyond, tirelessly coordinating every single detail to ensure that every family in our school is provided for. She approaches this work delicately with unmatched kindness and compassion, always making sure that no one feels uncomfortable. So a big thank you to Miss Mary for all that she does for Pleasantville. Her grace and dedication are truly a gift, and we are so blessed to have her in our lives.
Well said.
She does not know I added that part, so I love you, Miss Mary. She probably is. Do you have any questions for me? Merry Christmas. Thank you. And thank you for the tree. Thank you for all that you guys do. We appreciate it. We really do. Thank you.
Yeah.
In terms of the reading to the younger kids, I'm gonna go over
yes.
on Thursday
Mr.
and
McPhail's
read to the
coming.
young kids, and it will be competitive. I just want to say.
You have to do voices because, you know, Mr. Belleville, he was Santa Claus today and the conductor, and the kids very much enjoyed the voices.
I've done
So-
a film study and I've been practicing.
Kindergarten teacher. Does your book have words in it?
It's a picture book. They knew better. Yeah. In keeping with that Christmas theme, though, I don't know if any of you had an opportunity to be at the band and choir Christmas concert last Thursday. It was spectacular. One of the things we've talked about the last several years is, you know, trying to get as many performances into those shows as we can. So it really is an event. And you know, we've said this a lot at different times throughout the year, but our directors are doing such a great job with those programs. That show Thursday night was next level. We did, there were about 25, between the band and the choirs combined. I think the band did 8 songs, and then the choir, each of the 4 various groups of the choir, culminating with the combined choirs, they did 23, 24 songs, and then we had 10 seniors that did solos between each transition. It was fabulous. Really, really well done. Spectacularly good job out of those groups. So it's amazing the structures that they're putting in place for our music department. 5-8, I think, really is going to pay dividends as we move along. It's fantastic. The talent is amazing. We do have winter sports up and running. I thought I'd give you a quick rundown on that. Our girls basketball team's off to a great start. They're 7-0. They're fun to watch, so if you can make some time sometime this winter to get out and watch them, they play hard, they play very fast, they're very skilled. So we're looking forward to what the future holds for them. The boys are 3-1. Boys season starts a week behind the girls, so they haven't played quite as many games. Same thing, that boys basketball team is young. The coaching staff has done a great job bringing that young group together, and you can see them just in 4 or 5 games starting to mature and play with more confidence. So we're excited about our basketball programs. Wrestling team, just getting started. They were at a tournament at Lakewood, finished 7th in that tournament last weekend. Swim team, the boys have a 1st place finish and a 4th place finish. The girls have a 2nd and a 4th. And our gymnastics team, we have 5 gymnasts this year on our gymnastics team. That's still a club, but they compete per OHSAA guidelines. They were at Westerville Central this past weekend, and they finished 4th in that event. In terms of Christmas and all the events that are going on for Christmas, there's no way I want to be a little bit general because I'm afraid I'll miss somebody, and I don't want to insult any of our groups. Literally every group that we have, every student organization that we have, from FCCLA to our Ag department, our National Honor Society, our Student Council, many of our teams, they are all pushing out to give back to the community through adopting families and young people. We have developed a relationship with Cisco Kids. Ms. Tokar's mentioned that organization. They have been so generous with our school district. We've built a relationship with them. Mr. Scott, who teaches phys ed and coaches for us at the high school, I know you know Mr. Scott. He has does some part-time work with them and has kind of been pushed in and been the leader to develop those relationships, and they are fantastic. Any need that we've had really in terms of whether that's clothing or toys for students at Christmas and even outside of the Christmas season, they have been there for us. So we're very thankful for the Cisco Kids organization. Our Hope Squad, which is our anti-bullying suicide group, They're having Wednesday afternoon, we have our advisory period. We're going to have a hot chocolate and donut social. Students can come down and they're going to have positive messages, and it'll just be a very low-key, everybody kind of stand around and visit and have some hot chocolate, a feel-good moment. That's something that's student-driven, so that was their idea. And they're also planning, when we get back first of the year, they're planning a couple of impact events at a boys and girls basketball game. We're going to create baskets that have like wellness items in them. We'll have a raffle to raffle those off. So somebody that's at the game, they'll be distributing brochures with information about what Hope Squad is and its impact on the school. So, and that's not just for students. When we do that at those games, that will be for students and adults alike. So that'll be home parents and visiting parents. It'll be the whole thing. So really proud of the work and leadership that the Hope Squad kids have done to this point. They've done a lot in a short amount of time. It's an amazing group. In terms of academics, we schedule our makeup testing dates right for end of course exams right before Christmas break. So we've pretty much wrapped that up. We've got a handful, 6 or 8 students that that have been absent that we've got to catch to get made up this week. But that goes to the graduation seals that students have to earn to graduate, and it goes to demonstrating competency in English and algebra. So these are students that are making these tests up that maybe haven't met one of those categories yet. So it's very important. We do a lot of work to prep for those, and Mr. Schaefer and Mr. DeStadio do an outstanding job of keeping all that running just completely smooth. So we feel like we've got a good handle on that. It was a good makeup. It was a good makeup session. I wanted to mention, we have done peer tutoring the last 2 or 3 years, and a little bit of a transition in that program. Our National Honor Society is picking that peer tutoring program up. We had 67 National Honor Society students volunteer to provide services to do peer tutoring. Now, for most of those students, that means that they're going to be coming back to the high school from taking CCP. They're busy. They're very, very busy. It was amazing to me that 67 of them were willing to do this. So what that means is we'll be able to have multiple peer tutors, over 8, and in some cases 20 per period for the entire second semester of the year. So any student that is having difficulty in a class, we target students that have below a C, and we'll reach out, our counselors will reach out to their families, have a conversation, see if we get it scheduled, but they do that during their study hall period. And almost everybody at the high school has at least one study hall. So we can bring them down a period or 2 or 3, just whatever we need to do to get the extra help. And there's a lot of research about peer tutoring in terms of academic impact, especially at the high school level. Students know how to communicate with their peers much better than even a skilled educator can do. They're more comfortable. They're in those classes together. They know the nuances of the teachers. They understand the relationship aspect of this in terms of the adults to the teachers. And those perspectives and those conversations really, really can be beneficial. So we're excited about that program. Right now we have 34 students scheduled to receive peer tutoring, and that number is growing. That's an ongoing process as we transition. We've got the rest of this week and then a couple of weeks when we come back in the first semester. So that number will probably be, I'd be surprised if it's not upwards of 45 or 50 by the time we get that going second semester. Believe it or not, it's time to start planning to do scheduling for next year. One of our focuses this year, as I've mentioned in my reports this fall, is we're trying to address rigor. We're trying to raise expectations, and our teachers have done a really good job with that. But also in terms of that, it's always been our goal to offer as many CCP offerings as we can on campus. And we have 12 courses targeted in the core areas and a couple in the non-core areas that we think we're going to be able to offer dual enrollment CCP credit for. So if we're successful with this, That'll put us somewhere close to 20 CCP offerings in multiple courses across almost every content area we've got. Certainly it would be in our 4 core areas. We've got Spanish taken care of, so we've got languages. We have a plan to offer 6 CCP hours in Ag Ed. Mr. Turner is already certified with Zane State to do that, so we're going to try to pick that up for our students. We're going to take a look at potentially an art offering with CCP, and on and on. So it would be pretty comprehensive and something that I think would be just such a big win. Now, for us to do this, we've got 4 or 5 teachers that are going to have to be approved by Muskingum University to be able to do the dual enrollment. But we're in the process of putting the paperwork together to send that off, and I'll keep you posted on how that all turns out as we transition into January. And I also wanted to kind of conclude my presentation with an update about Driver's Ed. You know, that Driver's Ed program was a huge win for our students. You know, it's a fantastic opportunity. So much of the high school to work programs that we use, you know, I don't know what it is. Students aren't getting their driver's licenses as quickly as they did maybe when we were in school. You know, I couldn't wait to turn 16, get my license, and a lot of our students aren't doing that, and there's various reasons for it. But the Driver's Ed program has been a huge success to this point. We have 36 students that have completed the Driver's Ed program completely. So 36 are finished. They've got their license now. We have 33 that are currently in process, and built into this, you know, finances, it's a good bargain, but it's still not cheap. And there are scholarships that are baked into this process as well based on need. And we have 17 scholarships that have been used to reach those goals. So that puts us in the what? Right around 70 or so students that have either completed or are in the process of completing. They're getting their driver's license so they can take their next step. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Ms. Hall.
Hi, good evening. Well, to show our gratitude during the month of November, the Leo Club partnered with the Rushville Lions Club and the Lutheran Social Services in our mission to support local veterans. So we would like to congratulate the entire RMS community for helping donate over 2,000 items to our local veterans. An incentive was also created for the 2 homerooms who collected the most items, and those 2 classrooms were Miss Llewellyn's and Mrs. Markwood's homerooms. So a huge thank you goes out to everyone who contributed to this cause to make this month such a month of giving successful. We are continuing our giving back to the community this month as well with our annual canned food drive, and that is sponsored by our National Junior Honor Society. All donations stay right here in our Fairfield Union community, and this year those items are donated to our Pleasantville food pantry. On December 4th, earlier this month, our 8th grade students had the opportunity to visit Fairfield Career Center. Students were exposed to 12 different programs that are offered at the Career Center. I talked with several students upon returning, and they were very energized about going and seeing the different opportunities that are available there at the Career Center. And several staff members at the Career Center commented to our staff about how well behaved our students were. So I always love hearing that whenever we have our kids out and about in the community. All of our middle school students in band and choir performed earlier this month as well in their first concert of the year. And like Mr. McPhail said, amazing performances. And I think it's always so interesting to see that first performance, you know, in December, and then compare it to when they you know, perform in May. Such growth happens over that year. And then even from 5th grade band and choir to 8th grade, just such growth in the middle school. But one new thing that Mr. Savage did this year, that if you were at the 5th or 6th grade choir and band, or the choir concert, you know, Mr. Gregory has, you know, started the tradition of finalizing the concerts with the alma mater. So Mr. Savage now has started that as well with the 5th and 6th grade. So they have now learned the alma mater, and they are, closing out their concerts with that as well. So that was a big hit, of course, with the audiences. On December 9th, we had our PBIS walkthrough where Mr. DeStadio and Mrs. Lindsay Rayner from the Muskingum Valley ESC walked through the building, speaking to students and staff about our PBIS initiatives. We are working towards getting a bronze recognition this year, along with the other buildings in the district, for our PBIS efforts for, Tier 1 interventions and expectations. We did a really great job. We have grown a lot at the middle school with PBIS. We have definitely improved with all of the positive shout outs, and discipline has definitely come down as well, tremendously. So that's the whole point of this, and we are definitely seeing the results at the middle school. Our student council, led by Mr. Smith and Mrs. Verdal, have planned, along with our, with our student council, they have planned a lot for this upcoming week. Christmas is definitely showing in the middle school. We have a theme week where, kids and staff are dressing up all week long. We have a lot of fun activities planned for Friday. And so we, definitely are ready for the Christmas season at the middle school. I do want to finalize tonight just by thanking the high school students and Mrs. Toller. Our students at the middle school don't participate specifically in the shopping aspect of it, but we get those dollars on the back end of it. We get the Kohl's Cash. So then we are then able to go and spend those on things that our students need. So I have gone to Kohl's and I have bought a ton of clothing, socks, coats, all those different types of things that our students need, that we can give to our students, just as they are needed. So it is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for our students as well, and it just across the entire district. I can't say thank you enough. Any questions?
Oh, yeah, I do have a question. So
Yes.
the Kohl's cash that the high school earned based on their shopping trip, it transferred over to, what about those in the community that shop Kohl's? Do you accept donations from Kohl's Cash, or does it have to be used for their, I'm just curious.
Well, I know that specifically the shopping that the high school students do with the elementary students, when they do their shopping, we get Kohl's Cash from that. I don't know about community. I don't think that
You can donate, or I don't know if you have to use your own
The
credit
community
card.
potentially could donate to your building to use that Kohl's Cash. The tricky part is most Kohl's Cash have very specific windows that it can
Yes.
be used in. So that would be the only real challenge, is making sure that, you use it within the window.
Yeah, it actually, for myself, I had to go last week and I got a large amount of things, and then I have to go this week to spend the remainder of it because there's 2 different timelines for the spending.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an excellent opportunity.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Mrs. Harmon,
Yes.
just a compliment to you as your presentation, along with the other administrators, Mrs. Stokars, Mr. Knob, and Mr. McPhail. Thanks for the insight, and we sure appreciate the giving insight of the buildings and what's taking place. It's very uplifting to listen to, so thank you. Appreciate it.
And thank you for all your hard work, but you guys may be excused for the rest of the time, right? So,
Yeah. I think we're going to stick around
Stick
for
around for-
the first part of the agenda here.
Okay. All right, moving on to consent agenda section, workshops and conferences. We've got here Cassie Wilkinson and Matt Stadio to the Quality Program Review, CTE, Perkins V updates on January 15th, 2025 at the Hocking College. Then we got Crystal Swick to the DECA District 10 competition, January 24th at Capital University. And moving on to financial items, Mr. Belville.
Yeah. Ms. Roberts wanted me to pass along her apologies for not being here this evening. She's a little under the weather, making its way through her kids and now to her, so we hope she feels better soon. Couple things I want to point out. First, we had a purchase order to the Fairfield 33 Development Alliance. This is the Workforce Development Center. We have a kind of a career counselor that works with our kids, and we were charged $3,000 for that. We received the invoice for that prior to creating the purchase order. So bringing that to the board tonight for approval. One of those just kind of oversight. This is a yearly expenditure we have, and normally July 1st of every year we generate a PO for this, and I forgot to send a note to the treasurer's office, and they didn't pick it up from last year, so just a miscommunication there. But we do appreciate the Workforce Development Center for all of their work with our kids. They did a great job. Ms. Roberts has the November financial report and insurance report. Really, those were reflected in the 5-year forecast, so I'm not going to dive deep into those. Ms. Roberts will, hit on the highlights come January, but most of this was already covered in the 5-year forecast at the November meeting. We do have 9 donations that are listed, and then I want to talk about a couple others. First, $1,400 from the Fairfield Union Music Boosters for Debbie Fox and being an accompanist. We do employ Debbie, and she's paid by the district, but the boosters saw fitting to compensate her above and beyond what the district does. So the way that works is the boosters make a donation to the district, and then we put it on the board agenda for a supplemental contract later. We have an anonymous donation of $30,000 for a new welcome sign to be placed at the entrance of the Land Lab. Just an amazing gift to the district, and we have designs of what we'd like to put up there. We're waiting on a formal quote from Bob Huber. Expect him to do the work on that, but I think it'll be an incredible addition to the Land Lab. We'll have maps of the property up to where people can see the trails, as well as informational boards that will be up about things on the Land Lab that you'd want to go see: the Indian Mound, the Homestead, Zane's Trace, just different highlights. So I think that'll be just a tremendous addition to the Land Lab. And again, as with most things that happen on the Land Lab, through the generosity of our community, that's how those things happen. So very, very pleased to receive that. $1,000 from Cecil Mike Miller and $1,000 from Sherry Miller for the Kevin Miller Scholarship Fund. Mike is Kevin's brother, and Sherry, of course, is Kevin's wife. And each year they donate to that scholarship fund, and to keep it going. And at the end of the year, we give 2 $1,000 scholarships. So right now, the Miller family continues to fund those each year, so that the money we received in donations from when Kevin passed away is kind of there to keep the scholarship going for as long as possible. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there's roughly $20,000 in that account. So if and when there comes a time where Sherry and Mike aren't able to contribute, we know that scholarship will continue to go for years after that. So very appreciative of their donations. I'm going to save number 5 there for a second. Number 6, anonymous donation of $500 for the High School Honor Society Christmas shopping. $300 from David and Karen Mitchell for the Kevin Miller Scholarship Fund. Again, very appreciative of them, and it's through donations like that that will keep that scholarship going. $250 from the Rushville Union Lions Club for the DECA program. $50 from Brian and Molly Courtright for High School Honor Society Christmas shopping. And then kind of circling back to number 5, there are $100 from Rushville Lions Club for High School Honor Society Christmas shopping. The Lions Club also waived the fee for the use of their facility. Each year when we take the kids on the shopping trip, historically, we'd always gone to Kohl's and then gone to Frisch's. And when Frisch's announced that they were closing, it left Ms. Toller scrambling last minute to figure out, how are we going to feed these kids? And we talked about this last board meeting. But the Lions Club just opened their arms and welcomed the function there for 2 days, waived the fee for the building rental, which that just meant more money that could go towards kids. The Falcons Nest, Tony and Carolyn Craig immediately jumped on board and said, we'll fix the food, we'll feed the kids at the Lions Club. Well, in the shop that day, as Carolyn Toller was talking to Tony and Carolyn Craig about fixing the meal, a couple of patrons in the Falcons Nest heard them talking about it and immediately wanted to donate to help pay for the food so that money could again be spent on the kids. And then the day of the 2 days we did, a Monday and Tuesday, the 2 days we took the kids shopping, went to the Lions Club to feed them. On the second day, Tony and Carolyn come out and said, hey, listen, what the donations didn't cover as far as the food, we're taking care of. So they, the Falcons Nest, the patrons at the Falcons Nest that made donations, the ones listed, I mean, this program has, it started 7 years ago, and in the past 7 years has just grown and flourished and really has become embedded in this community, and again, it's helping kids at every level. I think, Ms. Hahn, would you have about $1,200 in Kohl's cash to go spend on the middle school students? We took our elementary kids, and I think it's 25 from each building? 25 total. 25 total kids from both buildings, that we spend. I think they had $165 each. We allow them to get one toy, but everything else has to be coats, gloves, clothes, necessities. And it's just truly a magical process. And I think Mr. Knott said it best.
And then they come rolling in the next day. Head to toe, runway moment. It's cute.
Yeah, it truly, it's a great day. And again, Cisco Kids volunteering, helping out, and Deke Scott for arranging that, helping with that. And then just a huge thank you, tip of the cap to Ms. Toller for all of her hard work on that and her leadership, and our National Honor Society students for the work that they do. So just incredible stuff. So would recommend we approve this.
All right. Okay, moving on to the food service items.
And that is an annual report that we have to submit to the Department of Education and Workforce, and the attachment of the letter that Mrs. Browning has to write just to illustrate that we are in compliance with nutritional standards in all of our cafeterias.
All right. There are no questions or comments. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Ms. Johns makes the motion, and I will second.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Conrad Zingmeister,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Cameron,
Yes.
Mr. Smoke.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. All right. Moving on to the new business section. The first item under that section is resignation of Bindi Martinville as a Bremen Elementary aide, effective at the end of 2024-2025 school year.
Yeah, I talk about these things all the time, especially, when you're talking about staff who have given so much to our district and to our kids. 31 years, Mindy, right? Bendy's been here for 31 years and has given of herself every day. She is an incredibly hard worker. She provides support, love, discipline to these kids. She pours herself into it each and every day. It is always hard for me to recommend that the board approve these resignations because we're just not losing people. It is creating holes in the fabric of our district whenever you have staff members that have served for so long and done such a great job that they reach that point that it's time to retire. And so on a professional level, it's going to be hard to fill your shoes. We hate to see you go. It's going to be different. On a personal level, I'm so happy for you. Getting to that point where you can enjoy family and all the things that come with having a little bit extra time to be with family members. So happy for you, but it definitely a loss for us, and we hate to see you go. Very, very hopeful you'll consider substituting and be back with us sometime. It's like vortex will just suck you right back in. Mr. Knott, anything?
I mean, she's been very nervous about me talking tonight. So, when I first got this job, I started to come around the community and kind of get a feel for it before I started. And I was at the Dollar General and I mentioned to them, I'm going to be the principal. And they instantly said, have you met Bendy? And I said, who's Bendy? So they give me, Bendy, and they tell me all these wonderful things about Bendy. And so then I meet Bendy and all those things are true. But when I think of Bendy, I truly do the term tough love. It is out of love that she is who she is, what she does. She cares about kids being safe and doing the right thing. She models those things for them. And she's tough just in who she is and everything that she tackles and takes care of. When she was out on medical leave, we had a student who, from kindergarten on, has been Team Bendy. And every day, she came up to me and said, how's Miss Bendy? How is she doing? She would talk to Mom. Mom actually called and got some information so that they could reach out to Bendy during that time to help the daughter feel better that everything was going. And then I knew, when we knew Bendy was coming back, before I told any adult, I went and found her and said, hey, she's coming back. So just that little story tells you the kind of impact she has. On another level, she has a coat. Now, anyone who has recess duty on a regular basis, if you're in education, you have a coat. Bendy has probably the best coat. And I've even been working on her leaving the coat. If she won't stay, maybe the coat can stay. But if you live in an igloo, perhaps this would be the coat that you would want. But she has fur at the top. Someone has to button her into this coat. She goes out. She does a wonderful job. Then she comes back in and we unbutton her and she's good to go. And so her humor, along with that tough love, her willingness to joke back and forth with me since I've joined here, her not hesitating to say to me, hey, have you thought about this, or this is why things are the way they are, and I need that feedback. Not everyone's comfortable doing that. She's done a nice job with that as well. I will continue to peer pressure her into returning in some way, somehow, next school year. But I am excited for her. However, she's already starting to live the life of a retirement person because she's already starting a trip to Florida. And I said, whoa. So, I don't know how well I'll do. But we will miss her, but we are so thankful for what she's provided for the kids here.
Bendy, yourself.
Whoa.
Mark this date down.
Just a quick comment. Bendy, thanks for touching so many kids' lives. I've known you for such a long time, and your husband Louie, and appreciate you and the impact you've had on our students, and I'm very thankful for you. Like I say, might have a hard time getting emotion in a second to get this resignation done. But thank you, Benny.
If there are no other comments, I do you need a motion to approve the resignation from someone?
So moved.
Mr. Kimmer makes a motion. I will second.
Mr. Kimmer,
Yes.
Ms. Conrad Zangmeister,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Ms. Johns,
Yes.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Maybe you can come forward and check your name, please.
You've heard me talking, so I'm going Mr. Knott, when you get your feedback, you should tell you straight.
Right, oh, you know. I'm getting a hug too.
You guys. Thank you. Appreciate you sharing it.
Very good, and it does.
And I don't know if you would like to stay for the rest of the
We're running
time, or
out.
you can run off.
You can go.
Yeah.
Get one and relax.
You guys have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you
We'll see
so
you
much,
tomorrow.
Wendy.
Thank you. Wow. Alright, moving on to the next item, which is a resignation for Melanie Baker at Rushville Middle School head cook effective December 24th.
Would recommend we approve.
Okay, if there are no comments or questions, I just need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Smeltzer makes a motion, I need someone to second. Mr. Hoffman seconds.
Mr. Smelter,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Ms. Johns,
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer,
Yes.
Ms. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on to 6.3, the resignation. I need a motion to approve the resignation of Christina Clark as an aide at Rushville Middle School, effective December 13th, 2024. If there are no comments or questions.
So moved.
Ms. Jones makes a motion, I will second.
Ms. Johns,
Yes.
Ms. Conrad Zangmeister,
Yes.
Mr. Smelter,
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on to 6.4, we have here in front of us we need a motion to approve the transfer of Cassie Wilkinson from Assistant Treasurer Payroll to the EMS Coordinator effective December 16th.
I think, anytime we have something challenging that comes up, we throw it at Casey. And that might be the best compliment that I can give her because we have that kind of trust and faith in her. Casey started off as the secretary here at Bremen Elementary School and quickly became apparent that we needed her to fill bigger roles in the district. Her attention to detail, her professionalism, her work ethic, team attitude, keep going on and on and on. Literally are second to none. She's incredible to work with. She went from secretary here to payroll in the treasurer's office. And, when Mrs. Nuss passed away, as you're trying to deal with the grief and everything in that situation, you still know that you have a job to do to take care of the district. And no matter how much we're hurting, kids were going to show up on Monday. Miss Nuss passed away early Saturday morning, and you knew kids were going to be here Monday. And the work of the district for kids has to go forward, and that is not easy. That is as difficult as it gets in education. And Saturday afternoon, I called Casey and said, hey, listen, here's what I'm thinking. And, you know, I know I'm throwing a lot on you, so take some time to think about it. If this isn't for you, I understand. But I think you'd be incredible as the EMIS coordinator, and she agreed to think about it, and honestly, I don't even know that it was an hour later. It was a very short time later, she called me back, she said, this is what you need, and this is what's good for the district I'm in. And immediately pivoted on and started jumping into EMIS. And Monday morning, when we talk about EMIS being this beast of a job, the introductory EMIS binders that Mrs. Nuss had, there were 3 of them, and it took 3 of us to carry them because they're about, you know, 12 inches thick. Like literally these binders are huge, and took them down, set them on her desk, said, "Are you sure?" and as always, she just smiled and said, "If this is what the district needs, I'm in." And immediately began work learning EMIS, going through some trainings while still maintaining a presence on the payroll side until the treasurer's office could adjust and get ready to, you know, take over for what she would be leaving on the payroll side of things. So again, you know, every turn, you know, it's been, well, here's a new challenge, and she's attacked it with energy, with passion, and we constantly throw that at her, and she's always there, willing and ready to take on anything that is needed for the good of kids and the good of this district. And it's invaluable to have her on our team. She'll be working very closely with Mr. DeStadio, Christy Smith, myself, as well as other administrators. EMIS literally touches every aspect of the district, from academics to financials to attendance, you name it. It touches all aspects of the district. So there aren't too many jobs as critical as this one in the district. And not only was she willing to take on a hard job, she was willing to take it on under the most difficult of circumstances. And she has already flourished in the position and is doing an incredible job just out of the gate sprinting. So truly appreciate her dedication. Mr. DeStadio, anything you want to add to that?
You know, it's a very difficult situation, but the one thing that gives you comfort is knowing we have somebody in there you can look at any conversation you need to, and the speed that she picked things up is very impressive. I know she'll probably deny some of that and be very, very humble, because that's just a part of her personality, but very excited to be working with her, and looking forward to continuing to push the district forward.
Casey, anything?
Was not prepared to say anything, but Tanya was very detail oriented. So she left pretty much a detailed list of, this is what I do, not daily, but like on a monthly basis. This is what I should be doing. And there's a project that is, the deadline is this Friday, and it's a 54-point project, and she had highlighted start here, like where, and the bullet points of where she was. So she left notes for herself. I mean, not knowing that I was going to step in the next day, I couldn't have asked for a better role to step into. She was, I don't know, she handed it to me very, very nicely. She did come to me in a dream Sunday morning, telling me that she had hidden money throughout the office, and that was one thing she did not leave details on. I did find a baggie of petty cash. So that had happened on Friday. So the dream didn't happen on Sunday, and she's saying there's more in that office. I just didn't really do. So that's the only thing she didn't leave the handwritten details on. There was a hole in the wall that I did have patched, and now I kind of regret. I look forward to
Thank you.
taking this on.
Thank you.
Well, she was very detailed to make those kind of notes for you.
Oh, yes, it's amazing.
additional comments? If not, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Hoffman makes a motion. Need someone to second?
Second.
Mr. Kimmer seconds.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer?
Yes.
Ms. Conrad Zimmermeister?
Yes.
Mr. Smelter?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Casey, you're more than welcome to stay with us the rest of the evening, or if you want to vote, that is fine. Matt, you say. Principals, if you guys need to take off as well, I think we're through portions that would involve you guys if you want to take off.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And have Happy New Year.
You too.
Moving on to the support service contracts. I need a motion to approve a one-year support service contract for Gavin Doyle as assistant automotive mechanic, beginning December 2nd, 2024, which was,
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
We have been operating since the start of the school year down a mechanic. So I do want to publicly acknowledge, thank, huge pat on the back, Dean Rary, Russell Van Horn, our drivers. We've been a person down on bus routes. We're down a driver. We've been down an assistant mechanic. And everyone has, kind of circled the wagons, put in extra time. Nate Horn, Deanna Throckmorton, Seth Cooper Ryder have all pitched in, like to run radios if Russell and Dean are both driving. So honestly, when they get really hard up, they'll have me do a radio. But honestly, the teamwork in the transportation department this year has been incredible. Gavin is coming to us from the private sector, and he does have a van certification, so he's already helping out with some transportation, but he is willing to get his CDL and his bus driver's license. So we'll get him trained up, and he's fitting in well. A lot of experience as a diesel mechanic, so already lightening the load a little bit, and he seems to be fitting in well with the team over there. So happy to have him on board, and looking forward to a good rest of the year for that group.
all right, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Ms. Johns makes a motion. Need someone to second?
Second.
Mr. Smelter seconds.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Smelter?
Yes.
Mr. Cameron?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Ms. Conrad Zimmermeister?
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on to personal service contract with, personal service contract for Debbie Fox for the piano services, amount of $1,500, which you spoke to in your superintendent's report. If there are no other comments, or if there are no questions, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Kimmer makes a motion, I will second.
Mr. Cameron?
Yes.
Ms. Conrad Zimmermeister?
Yes.
Mr. Smelter?
Yes.
Ms. Johns?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on to 6.7, volunteer, motion to approve Jason Menard as high school wrestling volunteer assistant coach. Very much appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate everyone who coaches, especially our volunteers. And as we've noted many times, they pay to coach, so we do appreciate it.
Need a motion to approve Jason Menard as high school wrestling coach, volunteer, assistant coach.
So moved.
Mr. Kimmer makes a motion. We need someone to second.
I'll second.
Ms. Johns seconds.
Mr. Cameron?
Yes.
Ms. Johns?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Ms. Conrad Zimmermeister?
Yes.
Mr. Smelter?
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on to the substitute teachers list. And I need need a motion to approve the substitute teachers list as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Smelter makes a motion, I will second.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Ms. Conrad Zainmeister.
Yes,
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Ms. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
motion passes. Moving on to substitute classified list. We need a motion to approve the substitute classified list as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Hoffman makes the motion. Need someone to second?
Second.
Mr. Smelter seconds.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Ms. Conrad Zainmeister.
Yes,
Mr. Cameron.
Yes.
Ms. Johns.
Yes.
the motion passes. Moving on to, we need a motion to approve Crystal Swift to take DECA members to the DECA District 10 competition January 24th, 2025 at Capital University in Thurman.
We skipped one. We skipped one.
No,
Oh, not a motion.
Yeah, we got it.
I need a motion to approve. If there are no comments or questions.
It's a normal competition.
So moved.
Ms. Johns makes a motion. I will second.
Ms. Johns.
Yes.
Ms. Conrad Zainmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Cameron.
Yes.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay. We are moving into executive session is there gonna be any action?
No action coming in.
Okay, so I need a motion to adjourn to executive session.
So moved.
Mr. Cameron makes a motion, I need someone to second. Mr. Hopkins seconds.
Mr. Cameron.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Ms. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Ms. Conrad Zainmeister.
Yes. Motion passes.